Picture this: the House of Commons, tension thick enough to cut with a butter knife, and Angela Rayner rises to her feet, not to defend her boss, not to toe the party line, but to vote with the bloody Tories against Keir Starmer, her own prime minister, the same Tories she once called scum. Yes, that actually happened. And if you think British politics couldn't get any more theatrical, well, grab your popcorn because this is about to get properly wild. Welcome to Westminster, where your past is never really past and your enemies never forget. If you're enjoying this chaos as much as I am, smash that subscribe button. Seriously, over 92% of you watching haven't subscribed yet. It's free, takes literally 2 seconds, and honestly, it helps us keep bringing you the juiciest Westminster scandals. Cheers if you did. Right, back to the bloodbath. So what on earth happened? Well, it all centers around Lord Peter Mandelson, you know, the Prince of Darkness himself, newly appointed as U.S. Ambassador by Starmer. Except there's a problem. Actually, there are several problems, all neatly documented in some rather embarrassing vetting files that Starmer desperately wanted to keep under wraps. MPs from both sides demanded transparency, and our dear Prime Minister tried his usual damage limitation routine. Except this time, his own deputy decided she wasn't playing along. When Rayner stood up and made it abundantly clear she'd be voting for the release of those documents alongside the Conservatives, you could practically hear Starmer's soul leaving his body. This wasn't just rebellion, this was betrayal with a capital B. This was Brutus in a pantsuit. You can almost imagine Starmer muttering, "Et tu, Angela," as he watched his carefully constructed image of integrity crumble faster than a biscuit in tea. Now, here's where it gets absolutely delicious. Remember that old political saying, "Whoever wields the knife never gets the crown." It's been true time and time again. Michael Heseltine took down Thatcher in 1990, but never made it to number 10 himself. Michael Gove backstabbed Boris in 2016 and ended up with precisely nothing. Rishi Sunak helped finish off Johnson in 2022, and well, we all saw how brilliantly that worked out for him. The pattern is clear. Regicide rarely pays. But here's the thing that's got everyone at Westminster absolutely buzzing. Will that rule hold true for Angela Rayner? Because unlike those previous political assassins, Rayner might actually have calculated this perfectly. She's not some Westminster insider playing chess in a smoke-filled room. She's an outsider, a northern working-class voice in a party that's forgotten what working class actually means. And right now, that's precisely what Labour needs. Let's rewind a bit, because Rayner's positioning has been nothing short of masterful. When Andy Burnham tried his Commons comeback last month, she gave him some initial support, but then went conspicuously quiet. The left wing of the party was absolutely fuming. They sent her letters about Burnham being blocked from the Gorton and Denton by-election. She ignored them. They protested about welfare cuts and winter fuel payment reductions. Silence. Her natural supporters were tearing their hair out, wondering whose side she was actually on. Turns out she was on her own side. Clever girl. She wasn't wasting her ammunition on battles she couldn't win. She was waiting, watching, biding her time like a political sniper until the perfect moment presented itself. And boy, did it present itself on a silver platter wrapped in embarrassing vetting documents. Because here's the brutal truth that nobody at number 10 wants to admit. Starmer is wounded. Badly. He's barely 9 months into what should have been a triumphant premiership with a massive majority, and already MPs are openly calling for his resignation. 9 months! Most prime ministers get at least a year before their own party starts sharpening the knives. Labour's polling numbers are in the toilet. Starmer's personal ratings are somehow even worse, which is quite an achievement when you think about it. And now he's facing yet another reset, another relaunch, another desperate attempt to convince the British public that this time, honestly, he's got it sorted. Spoiler alert, he hasn't got it sorted. The upcoming Gorton and Denton by-election on the 26th of February could be the final nail in the coffin. If Labor loses what should be a safe seat, or even if they just perform embarrassingly poorly, the vultures will circle, and Angela Rayner will be right there at the front of the queue, looking remarkably well prepared for someone who definitely wasn't planning a leadership bid. Definitely not. Pure coincidence. What makes this situation so deliciously ironic is that Starmer built his entire brand on integrity and good judgment. He was supposed to be the antidote to Johnson's chaos, the steady hand on the tiller, the boring but competent leader who'd restore faith in politics. Instead, he's embroiled in scandal after scandal, making U-turn after humiliating U-turn, and now being openly undermined by his own deputy on the floor of the Commons. You genuinely could not write this script. Well, you could, but people would say it was too far-fetched. Rayner knew exactly what she was doing when she stood up on Thursday. This wasn't a principled stand for transparency, though she'll certainly frame it that way. This was a calculated move by someone who's done the math and realized the throne might actually be within reach. She's effectively sent up a flare to every disgruntled Labor MP, every disappointed voter, every member who thought they were getting something different. The message is clear. There's an alternative. I'm ready. When you're ready, I'm here. The beautiful irony of finding common cause with the Tories, the very people she once called scum, shows just how serious she is. That's not hypocrisy. That's ambition. That's politics at its most ruthlessly pragmatic. She sacrificed her previous rhetoric on the altar of opportunity. And honestly, can you blame her? When the crown is sitting there, wobbling precariously on Starmer's SAD, practically begging to be claimed, why wouldn't you make your move? So where does this leave us? Starmer is clinging on, desperately trying to reset a government that barely got started. Rayner is positioned perfectly as the heir apparent, having struck at precisely the right moment. The Tories are loving every second of this Labour civil war, and the British public is watching yet another government implode in real time, probably wondering if we could just have a quiet year for once. Just one, please. The next few weeks will be absolutely crucial. Watch the by-election. Watch how many more MPs break ranks. Watch how many more sources close to the Deputy Prime Minister start briefing journalists. And most importantly, watch Angela Rayner, because she's not panicking, she's planning. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Westminster Brief, and trust me, you'll want to stay tuned because this story is far from over.